A nation that was supposed to be a safe place, a refuge, is now inflicting some of the most evil acts imaginable against other human beings. Hi, my name is Suri Crowe, and you're watching the MeidasTouch Network. I am reporting on Israel again because you need to know about the continuing atrocities that Israel is committing with America's blessing. Here is Miriam Margolyes. She is an Australian-born British actress. She lives and works in Britain now. She recorded this message I'm about to show you over a year ago. But I believe that this message resonates even more strongly today.
Hello, I'm Miriam Margolyes, and I wanted to say something in support of the Jewish Council of Australia. I'm an Australian citizen. I'm 83. And I have never been so ashamed of Israel as I am at this moment. To me, it seems as if Hitler has won. He's changed us, Jews, from being compassionate and caring and do unto others as you would have them do unto you, into this vicious, genocidal, nationalist nation, pursuing and killing women and children. Of course I condemn the Hamas action. Of course I do. But what we are doing, Jewish people, over in Israel, is shocking, embarrassing, and wicked. And I cannot understand why all Jewish people, particularly members of synagogues, do not want immediately to stop what is going on. And in the name of humanity, I call upon all Jews to shout, beg, scream for a ceasefire. It is not anti-Semitic to have a different opinion on the wartime actions now. We have to do, as my mother used to say, the right thing. The right thing is a ceasefire, to stop the killing. Certainly, to beg and insist on the release of hostages. But there is an opinion about Israel's actions, which it is not anti-Semitic to voice. What Israel is doing is wrong. It is wicked and, if you want to say this, is very bad for Israel. Please call on your rabbis, on your communities, on all the people you know. Voice your disgust and detestation of the Israeli actions. Please, you are then doing the right thing and behaving in accordance with Jewish tradition.
If you haven't heard me say this before, Zionism is not the same thing as being Jewish, practicing the Jewish faith, or being born Jewish. So do not equate criticism of Zionism or the nation of Israel as being anti-Semitic. They are not the same, all right? Capiche? And if you really want me to flip your wig, the actual Semites are the very people that Israel is ethnically cleansing and genociding right now. The Palestinians, the Lebanese. Word is they want to go after the Turks next. The original meaning of Semite, back in the old days when the Bible was being written, is defined by people of the Levant, people who speak Arabic, Hebrew, yes, Amharic, the Aramaic languages, those people of the Levant, which includes the people that they are murdering right now. Semite later came to encompass Jewish people too, but the abject hypocrisy of these Zionists screaming that we're so pressed, oh my God, the Palestinians, as they're genociding literal Semites off the face of the earth is just effing rich. For example, this bomb attack that Israel carried out on a family of 4 in Lebanon earlier this week.
Reporting to you from Vintage Jabil, where there has been another deadly Israeli terrorist attack, this time on a scooter and a vehicle carrying an entire family. The initial casualty toll is 4 dead, 1 critically injured. We have to wait for the final toll from the Ministry of
First of all, huge shout out to Courtney Bonneau. I've been following her over the last year. I think she's an independent journalist, but she has been on the front lines of this genocide in Lebanon, where she's lost several of her colleagues. As I've reported before, I mean, Israel is the number one killer of journalists worldwide. Number one killer of journalists worldwide, as well as children. And she's in Lebanon, where Israel is slaughtering innocent civilians. As well as journalists. And, they're targeting these people intentionally. While the rest of the world is horrified and disgusted with what Israel is doing with America's help. By the way, Israel and America are now becoming pariah states. Like, everyone looks at us and is like, oh my God, for real. I have another story I'll include in another report another time. South Korea's President Lee Jae-myung recently called out Israel's IDF for throwing a teenager off the top of a building in a video that's been circulating. And Israel's response, here's what they basically said was, well, that's an old video and we've changed our training.
This video just triggered a diplomatic clash between Israel and South Korea. Disturbing images from 2024 shared by South Korean President Lee Jae-myung, appearing to show Israeli soldiers on a rooftop in the occupied West Bank, kicking and dragging bodies across the roof, throwing at least 3 over the edge, one after the other. Israel says the operation targeted militants. President Lee's post says, we need to check if this is true, and if it is, we should find out what measures were taken. He then said there was no difference between wartime killings, the Holocaust, and Japan's sexual slavery of Korean women. Israel's foreign ministry is calling his remarks unacceptable, including the trivialization of the massacre of Jews on the eve of Holocaust Remembrance Day, and accusing President Lee of digging up an old incident and presenting it as current, before later clarifying it happened in 2024. At the time, the Israeli military called it a serious incident that does not coincide with IDF values and was under review. CNN reached out to the IDF to ask if any actions were ever taken against the soldiers. Under international law, militaries are required to treat bodies with dignity and return them to families.
So that's 2 years ago. So it's not old. And from the starving, bombing, machine gunning, raping of medics, doctors, children, animals, and other innocents, you really don't think the IDF is still doing that shit? Sure they are. Netanyahu and other Zionist predators are now threatening those of us who speak out against their terrorism. And commentator Anna Kasparian from the Young Turks is not having it.
And for any Israelis watching this right now, I want you to be clear. I want you to understand this, okay? Because others are very afraid. I get the IDF sending me pictures of their weapons, talking about how they're going to slaughter me. I'm not afraid of you. Not afraid of you. Okay. All the other cowards in American media, they can F off. They're not like me. I'm different. I'm not afraid of you. Okay. So while you're, cashing checks that are funded by my tax dollars and the tax dollars of my fellow Americans, I need you to understand something clearly. You are hated internationally. Hated. Don't be mistaken based on the propaganda you hear in American media. That's not representative of how the American people feel about you. You're hated. And it's not because you're Jewish. It's because you slaughter innocent people. It's because you think you're God's chosen people when you act like absolute demons. That's the reality. The whole international community loathes you. Young American citizens in this country, both left and right, loathe you. And eventually, these are the people who are going to come into power. So I think Israel's days are numbered as it pertains to America backing its disgusting, loathsome behavior. Its war crimes, its slaughter of innocent people.
Truly hope so. But in the meantime, oligarchs like Tim Cook and Apple are assisting the Israeli war crime machine by wiping out the names of Lebanese villages on Apple Maps. Yeah, that's what they did the other night. And that, by the way, is ethnic cleansing. When you're literally erasing a civilization. And I checked on my own iPhone, it was true. Apple had removed all the names of the villages and areas of interest in southern Lebanon. I mean, what can you say? Tim Cook has had his lips pressed against Trump's and, apparently Netanyahu's ass. Like, it's so disgusting to see them folding and collaborating, again, fascist collaborators, and again, Israel and Zionists always so pressed. We're the victims here. Give us billions of dollars to defend ourselves when they are murdering people left and right who did nothing to them, And to prove that point, here is the brilliant Medi Hasan.
About monsters in charge of governments, the face of terror, nuclear weapons. Who are we talking about here, Iran or Israel? Because I would ask a few questions for your viewers to consider today as they listen to Doron. Which country in the Middle East has nuclear weapons? It's not Iran, it's Israel. Which country in the Middle East has not signed the NPT, the Non-Proliferation Treaty? It's not Iran, it's Israel. Which country in the Middle East is defying a UN Security Council resolution calling for that country to open up its nuclear facilities to IAEA inspectors? It's not Iran, it's Israel. Which country in the Middle East attacked 6 countries in the Middle East last year? 6! It wasn't Iran, it was Israel. So Iran, for all its many sins and crimes, is not the rogue nuclear state in the Middle East right now. That country is Israel. As you said, Piers, in your introduction, global public opinion has made it very clear that they see Israel as the threat to regional and international peace right now. You pointed out, Piers, that it's Benjamin Netanyahu dragging American Republican presidents into wars of choice. Iraq in 2002-3, and now Iran in 2025, 2026.
I mean, Medi just pulls apart their bullshit arguments on any topic. And, he's really been making some headway. Like Piers Morgan, famous far-right conservative. I believe that's because of his frequent appearances on the Piers Morgan show. Medi has really changed Piers Morgan's approach, not completely, not to like where I am or where Medi is, but Piers Morgan is no longer an Israeli apologist. And it's because Medi Hasan is just fucking brilliant. Finally, and right, but he stands on facts. He's given them the absolute facts, and you can't debate with proof like that. I have been platforming a number of these truly progressive candidates. They are AIPAC free. They are pro-Israel lobby free. They are for universal healthcare. They are for renewable energy, so we are not involved in wars over polluting fossil fuels that are quite literally destroying our planet and, destroying our economy at the same time. And there's about 100 of them running across the nation. And so come follow me on my Instagram and on my Substack and on my brand new YouTube channel, because I've interviewed several of them so far. I had a really amazing conversation today with somebody who's running in against Jared Moskowitz, for example. We can get rid of people who are entrenched and voting against what is best for us and for our planet and for our kids and against our healthcare. We can do it, you guys. They are out there. There is a solution, but you have to get involved. So come find them. Come follow me on my socials, which are always tagged below. And let's boost these progressive candidates. Look at New York right now. Look what Mamdani has done in just a few short months. Y'all, democratic socialism works. It does. No one's perfect, but we have to get out of this brainwashed culture that corporations are good and the wealth trickles down. It doesn't, and it destroys the world. We're looking at late stage capitalism right now. So hop on in, come follow, come listen, and let's change. Let's clean out Congress is what I've called the series. Lastly, I just want to underline what Miriam Margolyes said about calling for the end of Israel's atrocities, because they have gone unpunished and coddled and babied for decades, getting billions and trillions of dollars from around the world. And you can see the world is turning against Israel. Thereby also against us, because we've given the most. As Caitlin Johnstone wrote, she said, the world can have peace or Israel, but it can't have both. Boom, pow. And then my friends, I don't know if they know that they're friends with me, but I'm friends with them. The Voice of Rabbis wrote this. I think it was on the Holocaust Remembrance Day. They said, why insist on portraying Jews as a separate nationality when in reality we are a religion? Our homeland is the country in which we live, and claiming otherwise is a distortion that borders on anti-Semitism. And what they're doing there is they're directly calling out this ethno-state, this theocracy that Israel is. It is an apartheid state. It always has been. We have been given sane-washed propaganda by the Western media, and they're calling it out. Judaism is a faith. I was born Catholic, It doesn't mean I stayed Catholic. I don't know, lately, listening to Pope Leo, I might revert back to my Catholic blood. But the point is I have that option, and I want to live in a pluralistic society where I can be non-denominational Christian, or maybe I want to be Catholic again, or maybe I want to go practice Buddhism. We should be free to do all of that. And Israel is an ethno-state for white Jews. They don't want anybody else. And if you know what's going on in Lebanon and right now, and in areas around Israel, what they are doing is they are bombing Christian sites. For all the Christians out there who are Trumpers and are pro-Israel, I hope you know that they are wiping off some of the most revered Christian historical landmarks off the planet. That's what Israel's doing. They're just bombing Christian communities right now. They don't give a flying fuck. They don't. It's all about power and colonialism for them. And that's really what the whole empire of Israel is. And by the way, also, Benjamin Netanyahu is considered a moderate in Israeli politics, okay? And the majority of Israeli citizens they're for that government. Yes, there are some dissidents, and we applaud them and build them up. But this is not just Netanyahu. You keep hearing people apologizing for the rest of Israel and saying it's just Netanyahu. No, it isn't. No, the majority of Israeli citizens hate Palestinians. They don't even think of them as human. And they are for this war continuing against Iran and against Lebanon. And I just want to make that clear. Like, start watching other media than what you're spoon-fed by Zionists. Get away from that. I know people are going to come at me in the comments. Come at me. I've been studying this. And again, let's separate Zionism from Judaism. They are not the same. I hope that people are starting to understand that. Like, I'm a Christian. Jesus was Jewish. I love Jews. So anyway, I think that's all I've got to say. All right. My socials are tagged below. Thank you for watching. All I'm asking and hoping is that everyone opens up their minds and starts to educate themselves, because so much of what we've been taught in America has been propaganda by colonialists. And I'm just glad that I'm finally starting to learn what the real story is. All right. Remember, be fierce, and truly from the bottom of my heart, my whole soul, I am wishing peace in the Middle East.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.